Störtebeker, Bernstein-Weizen.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
You would not believe the amount of takes I had to do to get that fucking name right. Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've not had a beer either, so fuck knows what's going on there. This is a beer from the Störtebeker Brewery based in North Germany. Now, I've reviewed a couple of their beers before. General consensus, not that great, to be honest. I did try their porter, and it is the first German porter that I've tried. Now, it was a top fermented beer that they'd brewed, and it's done in the style of an English porter. That's what they said on the bottle. And fuck me, they put sugar in there, and it did have invert sugar written on the side, so I knew sort of what I was getting into. It smelt, the aromas were great. I loved it. It smelled really nice, and I thought this is going to be a good one. And then I took a mouthful, and the amount of sugar that they'd put in there, they have just fucked that up completely missed the point of a stout. A stout is meant to be bitter roasted malt, even some hop bitter in there sometimes as well, but invert sugar, no, not really. You can put lactose in there, yes, I have seen that in stouts and porters, but there's no need to put sugar in a porter. And I did mention this to my mate, and he said all the porters are like that. Even some of that, is it ABZ, the East German black beer that I tried, that was full of fucking sugar as well. I just don't get this fascination with sugar, and it's not even nice, it's not even done well like the Belgians do it with their candy sugar, or indeed the English do it with their invert sugar. Not good at all. So I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say apprehensive, but I'm hoping this is gonna renew my faith in this brewery. There is a couple of interesting points which I'm going to get onto in the next section. I don't really, oh no, fuck it, I'll do it now, because in the next section I'm just going to be explaining the ingredients. But what I'm going to explain to you now should really be in the next section, but I'm going to do it here because it is quite interesting if you're a fucking beer geek like me. Now, this beer contains one hop, and that's not unusual for a German wheat beer. German wheat beers, yeah, they do have hops in them, but it's usually one variety. Most common I've seen is Hercules. I know Schneiderweiss use Hercules quite a lot in their wheat beers, and yeah, wheat beers are all about the yeast. That's what makes or breaks a wheat beer. The hops may give it a little bit of an embellishment or something like that, but it's not the character of a wheat beer. The character from a wheat beer comes from a hop, but they've used a strange, well, not strange, but an unusual hop, or an uncommon hop, I should say, in this beer, and it's called the Schmargot. I think that's how it's pronounced, Schmargot hop, which Schmargot in German it translates to emerald. Now, this hop I had to look up. I'd never heard of it before, and it's come from the Hull, I think that's how it's pronounced, Hull Hop Research Foundation that's in Germany. It's in Bavaria, and I was reading about this hop research place, and it was founded in 1926 because of a quite a severe outbreak of mildew and fungus in the hop growing regions, and they basically, well, the agricultural ministry, I would imagine, got together and said, look, we need to come up with something that's going to be mildew resistant, and we need to produce something because the fucking hop harvest is fucking dying on its arse. So they came up with this hop research institute, I would say. And yes, its main function was to find or develop a hop that would be resistant to mildew, mould and other infections that are common in hop and other plants as well. And they concentrated on that until around, I think, the 60s or something like that. Obviously the war happened and all that. I'm not sure how it fared during the war, but the institute did survive, and it was a thing after the war as well. And in the 60s, one of the founders, decided to start researching and basically making his own hops, or producing or developing some new hop varieties which were based on older hops. Now, I've had to write these down, but I don't normally take notes in my reviews, but I'm not going to remember all this. I had to write every single hop down that they've developed, and some of them are quite well known actually. So on here we have got from the Huel Hop Research Institute, they have produced Hallertau Gold. Now that's obviously a regional Bavarian hop, and this is based in Bavaria, this place. Would you have guessed it? I don't know. But firstly, any hop that has Huler in the prefix of the name, that's been developed at this institute. So they have produced Hallertau Gold, they have produced Hallertau Traditional in 1991, Hallertau Taurus and Hallertau Hercules in 2005. Remember, I just mentioned Hercules being quite a common hop that's been used in wheat beers. They have produced Diamond Hop in 2019. They produced the Aurum hop, which was developed from Spalter hops. That was in 2020. And they've also, as the craft beer industry or craft beer trend took off, they decided to come up with some German hops with American style flavours and aromas. And they came up with the Hallertau Blanc, the Polaris hop, which is a craft used in German craft beers a lot, the Huel Melon, which is pretty self-explanatory, and the Mandarina Bavaria. Now, I have tried a beer with the Mandarina Bavaria hop in there, and that is becoming more and more popular. It's got a nice orangey flavour to it, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that was in one of the North German beers that I tried recently. Was it a Potts beer or a I can't remember. It might have been a wheat beer. Oh, memory, you bastard. But yeah, so that's basically the Huler Hop Institute. That was, or that is, I should say. It's part private owned, it's part state owned, but they're continually researching and developing hops. And yeah, I think that's a brilliant thing. Sadly, in this country, we do have agricultural research centres, but sadly, I don't think not geared towards developing hops. See, the Germans do take their hops and their beer very, very seriously indeed. Anyway, I am digressing. This is a wheat beer from the Störtebeker Brewery, as I have just mentioned. It's a Weizen. If you notice, it's called a Weizen. Any beer outside of Bavaria, or any wheat beer outside of Bavaria, cannot call itself Weissbier or a Weissbier. That is strictly reserved for Bavarian brewers. Anything outside has to be referred to as a Weizen. Now, I have seen some Bavarian brewers refer to their beers as Weizens, but I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any beers outside of Germany, certainly that I've come across. I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be proved wrong, but I haven't come across any that have denoted themselves as Weissbier outside of Bavaria. But there you go. Not really much to say about this brewery that I haven't said in the other two videos. Needless to say, the Störtebeker wasn't the original name from this brewery. They adopted that name in 2011, and that's named after a German mercenary and pirate from the 1600s, I think that was. And yeah, that's where they get that name from. They have a very big nautical tradition at this brewery. If you notice, there is a sailing ship on the front, and they also have it on the cap as well. Autofocus, do your fucking job. Yeah, it's there. And the reason for that is they are based in a Hanseatic city on the Baltic coast called, and the name escapes me now. What is it? It's something like Sunderland. It's not. I'll put it up here just so as you know. Anyway, let's stop gassing and let's get this beer investigated. Right, it's 5.3%, 500ml bottle, all in German on the side. Can't really give you much information. I've just mentioned the hops that have gone into it, or the hop that's gone into here. This is the Smaragd hop, which basically translates to emerald. I've just explained that in the last section. There's 3 types of malt that they've used in here. They've used wheat, obviously. They've used caramel malt, and they've used Pilsner malt as well. Which, I think when they say caramel malt, when German brewers refer to caramel malt, I think they're referring to caramalt that they've put in there. So there you go. That's what's in the beer. Let's see what it's like in ye olde glass. Right, I have got the fucking daddy of all wheat beer glasses because, as I've mentioned before, I'm fed up trying to get a whole bottle of wheat beer into a normal wheat beer glass, because you have to do it all in one pour to get the yeast at the bottom of the bottle. Now there's that cap again if you want to have a look. If autofocus wants to do its effing job. Right, let's get this into the glass. And this is how you pour a wheat beer. You get about 3/4 of the way down. You give it a little bit of a wiggly wig, and then you get the rest of it in there. It all has to be done in one pour. You can't really. And what I normally do with beers is I pour a little bit into the bottom, and you get more of an aroma that way, rather than pouring the whole lot into the glass and then trying to get aromas. I've worked that out. Well, actually, no, I did. I'm lying to you. I didn't work that out. I got that tip from the craft beer channel. If you ever watched that, if you haven't seen that before, check out that channel. That's quite good actually. And they're not just craft beer. They do quite a lot of traditional stuff on there as well. 2 fellas that do it. Very good indeed. I've got a lot of tips from them. They know their stuff. And yeah, they basically said just put a little bit in the bottom and you get more of an aroma, or more of an idea of the aroma. And that sort of makes sense because you're mixing it with the air. And yeah, when you put the whole lot in there, there's very little air to let it circulate. So yeah, well, there you go. On the nose. Oh, that smells nice. Oh, that smells really good. Very heavy on the banana there. Faint clove aroma, but not as big as I thought it would be. You can even get some of that malt as well, and it's quite nice, I have to say. Some nice bubblegum aromas as well. And when I want to explain what I mean by the bubblegum aromas, I'm talking about like juicy fruit. Do you remember them chewing gums? That's what I'm talking about. If you remember the smell of them juicy fruit chewing gums, that's what you get in many good German wheat beers. But there you go. There it is in the glass, the whole lot in one go. Let's get it down my fat Gregory Peck. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Whoa. That is quite sweet. Sweet banana. And there is a little bit of a sour ester to it as well. And I have seen that on a few wheat beers. And I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not, because to me it either says that the yeast is either weak, it has an infection, a yeast infection, or it means that some other yeast has got there, some spontaneous yeast or wild yeast that's not meant to be there. Now, of course, if you're drinking lambic, that's what gives it its sour flavour. That's its characteristic. But obviously, this isn't a lambic. But let me dive in again. It could be my palate just trying to adjust. You can really get the malt from this as well. There's quite a lot of like wheaty style cereal type malt. It's not as pronounced now, but on the first mouthful, I did get an element, a little bit of bitterness on the finish. And it's not spice bitterness either. That's like hop like green leaf hop bitterness. Interesting. I haven't ignored wheat beer for a long time, but it's just like they haven't been on my radar. And this is, I tried one the other day, and that was quite similar. But this, this is just okay. I would have preferred a little bit more of a clove style flavour in there. The banana, sweet banana, is definitely in there, but the clove is a little bit lost in that. This is quite a sweet beer, and I'm beginning to think this lot, they do put a lot of emphasis on sweetness in beers, and that's really not my thing, and that's why I've got really mixed feelings about this brewery. I did try their Atlantic Pale Ale. They've done one called an Atlantic Pale Ale, and that wasn't bad. I quite like that. It was very much, it had American hops in there, would you believe, but it tasted quite a lot like a good English pale ale. It wasn't bad at all, but that was the only decent one. This stuff, this has got 3 times gold medals. Where is that? I can't even see that. That's too small for my fucking peepers. But they've got 3 gold medals. I mean, it's not a bad wheat beer, I will say that, but I don't think it compares to the Bavarian stuff. Certainly not the Schneider Weiss or the Weihenstephaner. Oh, that was it. I tried a Franciscana the other night. I didn't try it. I somehow ended up with it. I haven't had Franciscana in a while. It's okay. It's not bad, Franciscana. I don't mind it. Not the best wheat beer, but not bad. I was a bit disappointed with their Keller beer and their dark wheat beer, but their standard Weiss beer isn't too bad. This stuff, it's okay, it's passable. I don't think it's that memorable when it comes to wheat beers, but there's nothing wrong with it. Little alarm bell at the beginning with the little sour note that I detected, but I'm not really getting that now. Maybe that was just my palate adjusting. Maybe it was so subtle that the other flavours now have sort of drowned that out on the palate. But yeah, I mean, this is perfectly drinkable. Yeah, not bad. I wouldn't turn my nose up at that. That's quite good. I wouldn't buy it again, but if I was in the area, then yeah, maybe I would go for this out of all their beers if I had to drink some of their beers. But yeah, not bad. So what is the verdict on the Störtebeker Bernstein-Weizen? Yeah, okay, and that's as far as I'll go. It's an acceptable German wheat beer. It's doing everything a German wheat beer should do. Again, as I say, the slight alarm bell was the little sour note on the beginning. That seems to have dissipated now, and it's turned into a reasonably nice drinking German wheat beer. Reasonably full-bodied. The caramel malt that they're talking about, not getting that at all, but it's quite heavy on the sweet banana and the bubblegum aromas. The clove on there, or the medicinal taste as some people like to call that, not really getting that at all, to be honest. It's probably there, but it's just being drowned out by them sweet banana flavours. Now, some wheat beer brewers do that. I know that Einsiedler, the East German brewer, they do that as well, but they do it quite nice. It's not as sweet as that, but it's good, and it's got some nice bubblegum aromas on there and flavours too. This, yeah, perfectly acceptable. I would probably, I'll tell you what I would do. Now, here's the thing, right? I've seen this online in the UK, and this is about £3.20. Do you know how much they pay for this in Germany? They pay €1.05 for that, for a bottle. Now, I said that I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it, not in this country, but if I was in the region and I saw this for €1 I should say, or €1 as the Germans pronounce it, fucking getting back on you lot. but they charge €1.05 for that, and I just think that how much are we getting ripped off? I mean, 3 times as much the price. Does it really cost that much? Their prices in Germany, when you contrast them with what we're paying over here, we are having our pants fucking pulled down with our beer prices. It really is a fucking piss take. And again, the government say, oh, it's to promote health and all that. Put it this way, and I hate bringing politics into the channel, but fuck it, it's going to happen with the way this government are behaving. This government do not give a shit about your health. If they did, they would be helping out the NHS. But these fuckers don't care. It's just a scam to make more tax for them, because the amount of money we're paying for that beer, most of it is tax. Tax that goes to their coffers so they can give it to their rich mates. The dirty fucking shithouses. But there you go. That's my rant over for today. That I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad beer. I don't mind it. I would probably buy it if I was in Germany for €1.05. You can't argue with that. That's well worth the money, in my opinion. So for that, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. And yeah, if you're in Germany and you see this and you like wheat beer and you're in North Germany, near the Hanseatic city of that place that begins with S, because my memory's gone. It sounds like Sunderland, but it's not fucking Sunderland. But fill your fucking Dr. Martens and get some. And remember, beer is working class champagne.